Let me tell you something about the big dogs in this business, the operations that really move the needle when it comes to breeding horses in America. Now, I've been doing this for 30 years here in Kentucky, and I got a healthy respect for the folks who build empires while keeping the integrity of the breed intact. So settle in, 'cause we're going to talk about the 10 biggest and best horse breeding operations in the United States. First up, we got Godolphin USA. Now, these folks didn't start here in Kentucky. They come from Dubai, founded back in 1992 by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. That's the ruler of Dubai, if you didn't know. Named the whole operation after the Godolphin Arabian, one of them 3 foundation stallions that made the modern Thoroughbred what it is today. Partner, they ain't playing around. Won the Eclipse Award for Owner of the Year 5 straight years from 2020 to 2024. That ain't luck, that's knowing exactly what you're doing. They run operations on 4 continents, got horses winning over 350 Grade 1 races in 14 different countries. When you're talking about Godolphin, you're talking about their Darley breeding division that operates worldwide. These folks got the resources, the knowledge, and the bloodlines to compete at the absolute highest level anywhere on earth. Now, Calumet Farm, that's where American racing history lives and breathes. Founded in June of 1924 by William Monroe Wright, the bacon powder man, on about 1,000 acres of prime limestone bluegrass in Fayette County, Kentucky. Wright started out breeding standardbreds, but his son Warren switched the whole operation to thoroughbreds in 1936 after the old man died in 33. They bought into an English Derby winner called Blenheim II and picked up a colt named Bull Lee. Now, Bull Lee became a 5-time leading sire, topped the list in 47, 48, 49, 52, and 53. First sire in American history to have offspring earning over $1 million in a single season. Calumet's got 2 Triple Crown winners, 8 Kentucky Derby winners, 8 Preakness winners, 11 horses in the Racing Hall of Fame. When folks talk about legacy in this business, Calumet Farm is the standard. Third up is Airdrie stud, founded in 1972 by Brereton C. Jones and his wife Libby. Brett Jones passed last September at 84, but his legacy's still going strong through his son. Started the whole thing on land that had been in Libby's family, the Alexanders, for near about 200 years. Property hadn't seen a thoroughbred since the early 1900s till they showed up. What made Jones special was his philosophy. Man bred horses to run, not just to sell. That's a distinction most folks don't understand these days. Everybody's looking at sale prices, but Jones was looking at what happened on the track. Airdrie sits on 1,200 acres in Midway, Kentucky, and just this past year they got Mage, 2023 Kentucky Derby winner, standing at stud right after the founder passed. Kinda poetic. Now here's a story about the American dream meeting the horse business. Stonestreet was founded in 2005 by Jess Stonestreet Jackson, a wine billionaire who fell in love with horses watching Seabutt win at Bay Meadows back in 1938. His wife Barbara told him to find a hobby in 2003. The man went out and dropped over $200 million into this sport. Within 2 years, he'd spent $22 million on 90 broodmares and about the same on a Proctor farm. 5 years later, his horse Curlin wins the Dubai World Cup, richest race in the world. Stonestreet won 3 straight Eclipse Awards for Horse of the Year, Curlin in 07 and 08, then Rachel Alexander in 09. They run about 100 broodmares across 3 locations, producing about 80 foals a year. Became the largest yearling seller in North America over the last 15 years. Barbara's still running it since Jackson passed, and she bought a whole facility in Florida just for breaking yearlings. That's control over your product from conception to sale. WinStar Farm shows you what vision and serious capital can build. Founded in 2000 by Kenny Trout and Bill Kasner, started with a 400-acre property. 25 years later, they're sitting on over 2,500 acres with nearly 700 horses. In 2017, they had 200 brood mares producing 178 foals and 22 stallions covering 2,700 mares. That's volume. They own Justify, 2018 Triple Crown winner, Super Saver, who won the Derby in 2010, Drosselmeyer and Creator, who both won Belmont Stakes. Won Eclipse Awards for Outstanding Owner in 2010 and Outstanding Breeder in 2016. The Stallion Barn, built in 2013, houses 18 stallions with covered access to breeding sheds and 22 3-acre paddocks for daily turnout. That's how you run a world-class serious weight in this industry. Originally bought by Leslie Combs II in 1937, named after the great stallion Spendthrift, who was owned by Combs' ancestor, Daniel Swigert. That horse was Man o' War's great-great-granddaddy. Spendthrift stood Seattle Slew from 79 to 87, Triple Crown winner. And they had a firm, too. Queen Elizabeth II came to visit in 1884 to look at both them champions. Farm went bankrupt in 88 during the Thoroughbred market crash, and it killed old Combs in 1990. But in 2004, B. Wayne Hughes, founder of Public Storage, bought the place and restored it to glory. By 2022, they were running 29 stallions with a pregnancy rate over 80%. Their flagship stallion, Into Mischief, 6-time champion General Sire. That horse covered 214 mares in 2021, and his yearlings average over $800,000 at sale. Only stallion in North America whose yearly average exceeded $500,000 each of the last 4 years. Don Alberto is an international story. Started in 1987 when Liliana Solari Falabella bought a farm near Los Angeles, Chile, and founded Haras Don Alberto, named after a father who was a major figure in Chilean breeding and racing. They expanded to Argentina, England, and finally the United States. In 2013, bought the vinery operation in Lexington, Kentucky for almost $14 million, bringing their American holdings to 1,300 acres. The Chilean operation runs 400 mares, producing about 300 foals a year, while Lexington's got 125 mares. In 2023, Arcangelo, bred and co-owned by Don Alberto, won the Belmont Stakes, first Grade 1 winner they bred in the U.S. In 2021, they bought the most expensive yearling colt in America, $2.6 million for an Into Mischief colt. That's commitment. Gary and Mary West ran what I call a smart hybrid operation, mixing racing and selling to keep things profitable. They succeeded at the long game through smart breeding decisions and efficient management. Wasn't the flashiest operation, but they knew their business inside and out. Ken Ramsey, born in 1935, and his wife Sarah, we called her Kitten, she passed in May 2022, they were something special. Bought Almahurst Farm in 1994, renamed it Ramsey Farm, 1,200 acres in Nicholasville, Kentucky. What made them different was they bred horses to run, not just to sell. Their broodmares lived in 70-acre fields in herds of about 30 horses, letting them live natural, which made them tougher on the track. At their peak in 2015, they owned 630 horses with up to 400 in race training, producing about 100 foals a year. Their flagship stallion was Kitten's Joy, named after Sarah. That horse won the Eclipse Award for Champion American Turf Horse. By 2014, his stud fee hit $100,000. The Ramseys were leading North American owners by earnings in 2013 and 2014, won 4 Eclipse Awards for Outstanding Owner and 2 for Outstanding Breeder. They hold the record at Churchill Downs for most owner titles, 28 times, and at Keeneland 18 times. Last but definitely not least, Hill and Dale Farms, founded in 1960 in Ontario, Canada, by John Sikura Jr., an immigrant from Czechoslovakia. When John died in a car accident in '94, his sons John G. and Glenn took over. They'd incorporated in Kentucky back in 1987 and now sit on 1,300 acres of prime bluegrass. In June of 1919, John G. bought the historic Chalapa Farm in Paris, Kentucky. Folks call it the Biltmore of the Bluegrass. At
Property dates back to 1827. Secura's restoration included 8 new barns, a breeding shed, 14 renovated houses, and miles of new fencing. Their 2025 stallion roster's led by Curlin, 2-time Horse of the Year, standing at $225,000. He sired 3 Eclipse Award winners last year. His son Good Magic stands there too at $125,000. And Hillendale in Lexington is where Seattle Slew is buried, 1977 Triple Crown winner. Now look, I've told you about these 10 operations, not to make anyone feel small, but to show what's possible when you combine knowledge, resources, and genuine love for these animals. Some started with nothing but borrowed land and a dream, others had money from the start. But what they all got in common is understanding that breeding horses ain't just about profit, though that keeps the lights on. It's about improving the breed, respecting the animal, and leaving a legacy that matters. From Godolphin's international empire to the Ramsey's family operation, they're all part of the same story, the story of the American Thoroughbred, and folks that dedicate their lives to doing one thing better than almost anybody else. Whether you got 10 mares or 1,000, the principles stay the same. Know your bloodlines, respect your animals, never stop learning. These 10 farms understood that from day one, and that's why they're still standing while others have come and gone. That's real horsemanship, partner, and it's happening right now.